Hello again. My name is Ina Katajcik. I am the director of the Textile Exchange Certification Program at SCS Global Services. Before we start talking about GRS and RCS and the certification process, just a bit about SCS Global Services in case you're not familiar with us yet. We are a global company. We have issued 30,000 certifications in 125 countries. We have 15,000 clients, which include both corporate organizations, governments, and NGOs. We have recently celebrated 40 years in service, and we have auditors in every major market. So we do anything that is related to sustainability. Unlike some of our competitors, our sole focus is sustainability. So we certify sustainable apparel. We work with climate change. We work with corporate sustainability and food, jewelry, fisheries. Every sector that has a sustainable element, we work in auditing that sector. We are known in the market for our excellent service. We have dedicated teams. We have rapid response times. We scale up for support. We also offer bundled services, and we generally have a very strong reputation in the auditing and certification field.
With agenda, first we are going to talk about roles of the organizations. Then I wanted to talk about some definition for textile exchange, principle of chain of custody. Then I'm going to talk about the certification process. Also, I'm going to talk about claims. I'm going to talk about relevant documents, and at the end we will have time for question and answers. So for the roles of organizations, we have 4 different organizations that are related to the certification or with the standard. So first we have Textile Exchange, that is the owner of the standards, not just GRS, RCS, but they have more standards, and also they are responsible for the development of those standards. Then we have the accreditation body. The accreditation bodies are the ones that oversights over the certification body, also gives accreditation for certification body to be able to certify third parties with the standards. And then, of course, the certification body, that is our role, it's to audit organization to the standard and also to certify them. And the last one is the certified organization, that is your case, and you have to, the certified organization needs to implement the standards. Some of definitions are relevant for textile exchange. Of course, first we have the RCS, that is the Recycled Claim Standard. This standard is an international voluntary that sets requirements for third-party certification of recycled input and chain of custody. Also, the GRS is the Global Recycled Standard, and also is an international voluntary standard that sets requirements for third-party certification of recycled content, chain of custody, but also includes social and environmental practices and chemical restrictions. One of the definitions in the supply chain, first we have the material collection, and this material collection refers to the point in the recycling life cycle when a reclaimed material is collected after its original use has ended. This can be individuals or brokers that buys from individuals for pre-consumer or post-consumer material. I'm going to talk about the difference of those materials after. Then we have the material concentration. This process refers to the point in the recycling life cycle when a waste material receives primary handling. And this can include washing, sorting, crushing, bleaching, um, and, and many others that are not, there is no bigger um, modification in the chemistry or mechanical form of the material. Then we have the material recycling, and these are referring to the point in the recycling life cycle when a reclaimed material is processed into a recycled material. And what is a reclaimed material? Many of you can also know this material as recovered material. And this material is all those material that will have otherwise been disposed of as waste or used for energy recovery, but has instead been collected and used as material input instead of a virgin or primary material for a recycling process. And reclaimed material can be comes from two sources. First, the post-consumer material is that material that is generated by households or by commercial, industrial, and institutional facilities in their role as end users of the product that can no longer be used for its intended purpose. And we have also pre-consumer material, also known as post-industrial. These materials are diverted from the waste stream during the manufacturing process. It's very important to know that difference. But it's excluded the reutilization of materials such as rework, regrind, or scrap generated in a process and capable of being reclaimed within the same process that generated. This is outside. This is excluded because to avoid that some organizations use that to put it on the material and claim it as pre-consumer, but in fact can be done as a optimization of the process instead of a recycling of the material. Also, the recycling content is the proportion by mass of this recycling material in products or packaging. Only pre-consumer and post-consumer material shall be considered as recycling content. And finally, we have the recycling material. This is all the material that has been reprocessed from reclaimed material by means of a manufacturing process and made into a final product or into a component for incorporation into a product. So both standards GRS and RCS shares a primary goal that is to increase the use of recycling materials. The difference between both standards are the GRS, also one of the primary goals also is to reduce and eliminate the harm caused by its production directly to the environment or to the worker handling the product. So there is one difference, or the main difference between RCS and GRS. But also those both standards shares objectives that are first alignment of definition across multiple applications. We know that textile industry is complex, so textile exchange with those standards try to align of all of the definition of those multiple applications. Also, another goal is to track and trace recycled input materials within the supply chain. Another goal is to provide customers, both brand and consumer, with a tool to make informed decisions. We know that sustainability products are grown within the consumer, so this is a very important way to give informed decisions to the consumers and let them decide to buy and to use those sustainable products. And finally, another goal that is shared for those standards is to provide assurance that the materials are actually recycled and in a final product. So, principle of the chain of custody. The aim of this chain of custody is to preserve the identity of the clay material and to track its movement through the supply chain up to the final product. And this is done through two different documents. One is the scope certificate, and another document that is very important to preserve the identity of the product is the transaction certificate. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the difference between those documents. So first, what is the scope certificate? The scope certificate is the document that verifies that a company is qualified to produce certified products. This gives the company that they are actually certified, they can process and trade, sell the products that are included there. To get this scope certificate, this document requires an audit from an approved certification body, that means us. Also, the scope certificate is applicable for a specific standard, that means GRS or RCS, or multi-standard. That means that one scope certificate can include RCS and GRS at the same time. The scope certificate is applicable for a specific list of product categories, also for a specific processing steps, and this scope certificate is valid up to 12 months. And for a certification, another audit should be conducted yearly. So the valid time for its scope certificate are 12 months. And textile exchange for the material process and product classification, they provide a specific code for each of the product categories. For example, if one organization produces unisex apparel, there is a specific code for that product. So will be easier to track it within all the supply chain and on scope certificate and transaction certificate. And another example can be on dyed fabrics. They have a specific code. Also, product category can be or should be related to a product detail. For example, t-shirts or singlets, they have a specific code as well. Also, another example can be denim fabrics. They have their own code as well for product details. And every product category and product details has material composition that it calls the raw materials. And for example, a product can contain recycled pre-consumer polyurethane. They have their own code as well. Or a specific product can also contain recycled post-consumer polyester. And for the processes category, the textile exchange provide also specific codes for each of the process. For example, mechanical recycling and knitting. So the purpose of those codification is to track and to unify all the complexity of the process and products within the textile exchange industry. And what is the scope of the standards? There is another difference between GRS and RCS. For GRS, it's intended for every product that contains a minimum of 20% of recycling material, but for RCS, it's intended for the products that contains a minimum of 5% of the recycling material. And the scope in the supply chain start with the recycler. At this moment, the collectors and concentrators are not obligated, are not required to be certified, but they need to comply some requirements of documentation, but they are not under, they can be certified if they want it, but they are not required. And also all the supply chain must be certified up to the brand and retailer. And also the trader can be applicable for be certified if they comply with some requirements, and also can be a trader can be or participate within any step of in the supply chain. And the other document that is very important to track and trace the material is the transaction certificate. This document verifies that specific products are certified to a given standard. The transaction certificate shall be issued with each change of ownership. The sellers of the material shall request the TC from its certification body. In the transaction certificate includes details of the shipments like BOLs, invoice number, POs, production orders, the type of material, last processor. There have many information that to track and trace the material, as I said before. And also another goal for the transaction certificate is to ensure that the company has sufficient certified inputs to produce the order on the transaction certificate. And this is the certification body should know that the company has sufficient material to produce with the transaction certificate. That's why it's very important to have this transaction certificate in place. And after the certification of a product or certain process, the organization can do claims to let the public in general or buyers that they are in fact certified and the product is certified as well. So what is a claim? A claim is an oral, written, implied representation, statement, advertising, or other form of communication that is presented to the public or buyer that relates to the presence of a claim material in the content of a product. Some examples are those pictures in this slide. Can be product related, it can be labels on product, or also can be claims of products, for example, in a website. So there are different ways that the organization, the certified organization, can do claims for the products. And to communicate that claims before label the products, the organization shall meet the requirements for logo use and claims guide. Also, the products must be certified up to the seller in the last business-to-business transaction. And all product-related claims must be approved by an authorized certification body. For communicate claims, organization shall issue a claim form for approval, so the certification body revise it and then approve it, and then the client or the organization can do the claims. And they shall meet the logo use and claims guide that I will share with you some links where you can find those documents. And to talk about a little bit more about a tool that we have recently is the label rate calculator, INA. Our director will explain a little bit about this tool.
Thank you so much, Aldo. So, as Aldo mentioned, there's claims that can be made following certification on your products. Um, in order to, we have developed a tool for you to find out which claims that you qualify for even before going towards certification. So I'm going to drop the link for this tool in the chat. Oh, thank you, Dana. So the idea is that you come in, you put in your information. So this is pre-populated. And then once you put in the information, it will grant you access to the tool. So once you're here, you need a couple of pieces of information to calculate your label, what label grade your product qualifies for. You need to select all the raw materials that you'll be using. So if you're using a recycled acetate, you would select recycled post-consumer. There's also pre-consumer, so you would select whichever one you're using. You would select what the certification is of the incoming material. So again, Aldo described the full supply chain. In order for your material to qualify as certified, you have to get an input TC from a certified company that produces that material. So say you received an input TC for a GRS certified recycled post-consumer acetate, and that of your product, this is 60%. You're gonna type in the percent, you're gonna click add raw material, and it's gonna prompt you to keep adding material until you have qualified for 100% of the material. You have taken into account 100% of the material. So the first raw material you've added is the acetate, and then say you're using just regular acetate, non-certified acetate. You would select non-certified, and the percentage. You would click in 40% so that your total is now 100. And now that it's 100, it's saying you're ready to calculate what label grade this product qualifies for. You're going to click calculate. And down here, it's going to tell you that it qualifies for 2 label grades. It both qualifies for GRS, the full GRS label, and the RCS blended label. So this is what would show on your scope certificate once you were certified to that product. So if you're looking to explore whether certification might be right for you, and if you're looking to explore which label grades you would qualify for, feel free to click in and use our tool. You could then click here to email the results to yourself. If there's any questions about the tool, please feel free to add it in the messages and we'll be sure to respond to you. Aldo, feel free to take back over.
Thank you, Ina. Let me share my screen again. Well, continue with the webinar. We may wonder, okay, after the presentation and how you as an organization can apply or get certified. So first, it all starts with the application submission. I'm going to show you, we have a online application. So I'm going to show you how it works a little bit. Won't extend too long in that, but just to get familiar too. So first, in this section, you can give general information about your company, company name, legal name, where it's located, provide a short description of your business operation, then primary contact with first and last name, email for contact. Then if the billing contact person is different from the primary contact, also you can put it in here. And for the section 2, you can choose what standard are you interested in, GRS or RCS in this case, but we also can give certification for responsible animal fiber for the supply chain. Also organic content standard, again for the supply chain. And well, in the second, in this section, you can put all your suppliers. If your suppliers are certified, because it's very important first that if you are in the middle of the supply chain, that your suppliers are certified as well. If not, your suppliers shall be certified first. So this is a question very important to answer here. Then if you have subcontractors, you can select here if they are subcontractors to store or produce products, or if they are in some point during the production, they take legal ownership. So you can select it here. Then in this section, you can indicate all your facilities in your certificate, whether if they are owned by the headquarters or are subcontractors. So you can name it in here. What are the processes they are doing? If they are first processors, or are they have another process on the middle of the supply chain? If there are office, there are warehouses handling unfinished or final products, or if they are brand, also you can select it there. Again, if they are owned or subcontractors, number of workers, the address, where it's located, and if the site also do packing of final products, so you can select it in here. Also, there is a space for you to put all your process categories. Is a drop down that you can choose from. What is your process for the site number 1, and so on. At the end, also for the process, and then you can also choose for a drop down also for the products. You can select the processes and you can select the products as well. And at the end, you can put additional information that is could be important for us to know, and then you click submit, and operation manager China Golden will review it, and then we will continue with the process. Share again my screen. Okay, so like I said, it all starts with application submission. One is revised, a quotation, it's sent, and then if the quotation is approved, this agreement is signed, and in this process, the auditor is introduced, and it starts with the documentation preparation prior the audit. So the auditor review the data request form that we sent in advance to the audit. Then the audit start, whether if it's on site or remote. Textile Exchange sets guidelines to know if an on-site or remote audit is applicable according to a risk assessment of the operation, or the type of the site, or the products that are involved in there. After the audit is conducted, the client must send corrective action plans for all those non-conformities, if there are non-conformities in the audit. So they need to correct those non-conformities after the certification decision, and the auditor after the audit should send a report to a technical reviewer to give the certification decision. And if all is good, scope certificate is issued to the client and is certified. So those are all the process for the certification. And the timeline for the audit itself, it should take no more than 8 weeks. But for all the process, starting with the application submission, may take 12 to 16 weeks. So it will depend how fast the application is done, the quotation, the agreement, so on. So that it's for the certification process, and relevant documents that I talk during the webinar. You can go to this link on the Textile Exchange website. You can find the standards for RCS, GRS. Also, Textile Exchange give a complementary document for implementation for the GRS and RCS. And also in this link, you can find the content claim standard that is the foundation for the chain of custody of all those standards. You can find and read it there. Also, there is a document for materials process and product classification that is very important to know. And also for claims, there are two different documents: the standard logo use specification and a standard claim policy. And again, you can go to this site and look for all the documents. And that's it for the webinar. Again, thank you for your assistance, and we can have time for answer your questions if you have any. So we will take time to answer your questions. And here we have our direct contact. If you want to reach out for any question or any doubt that you have, you can do it whenever you want.
Yes, thank you. So Aldo, we have a few questions come in. I'll read them. I think you'll be in the best position to answer them, and I'll jump in if needed. So we have a question from Udaya Ganesan, who asks, how is it possible to calculate recycled content for metals and plastics when the actual values are unknown?
Well, one of the requirements for GRS and RCS is that when the material it's collected, the source shall be known with all the percentage, and it can be mixed because it shall be either for post-consumer or pre-consumer. Also, the exact composition shall be known in order to track the material from the collector, concentrators up to the manufacturer. So it's important to know from the collection step what is the percentage of the material that is being collected.
So the answer to the question is that it has to be known. It does have to be known. Yes.
Yes.
But is there a caveat that you can certify ranges? You could certify products that are within a range.
You can certify ranges, yes, but for one raw material, one composition. You can, for example, say I have a mix of post-consumer polyester, for example, and polyester. So you cannot say I have a mix of that, and that mix is 50%. You shall know that the polyester is 25%, for example, and the other part is the other raw material. You cannot mix both raw material together.
Okay. The next, and Uday, let us know if we answered your question or if you want further clarification. The next question is from Luis Roberto. He's asking, there's a focus on textiles. Are these standards applicable to other products such as plastic bottles or food packaging or cardboard?
Yes, exactly. Yes, there are the GRS and RCS is open to all kind of industries. So yes, it's possible to certify other materials that are not textiles.
Is the caveat that there needs to be a raw material code for those materials? For example, what would be the raw material code for cardboard?
Yes, if is not included in the material composition document that I'll show during the webinar. There is an option that Textile Exchange give for those products that are not there and not fits in the description, and we can name it as other. And there is a code for other, but we need to specify what is the product that they are producing. In this case, we should name other and then the cardboard, and then the code that is for other.
Got it.
Right.
So the answer is, Luisa, that yes, we can
Yes.
certify other products made from other materials that are not textiles.
Mm-hmm.
The next question is from Conan. Actually, maybe that's not a question. All right. Are there any other questions that are coming in?
If there are further questions, you can reach us directly and send your questions, and we will happy to answer those.
Okay, we got an emailed question separately. The question is for if the intent is to meet Amazon climate pledge friendly criteria, are the textile exchange standards eligible?
Yes. You have to be certified for GRS and then apply for the pledge of the Amazon's certification. Yeah, it's applicable.
Yeah, and just to add a little bit more detail to that, the product needs to be 50% certified, so GRS certified.
Exactly. Yes.
But it also qualifies for RCS 100. And I think RCS blended and RWS at least 50% for both.
Yes.
For RCS and RWS qualifies for the Amazon friendly, pledge friendly criteria. Let me see if there's any others. There's another question, whether can a GRS logo be used if the packaging is certified but the product is not?
Yes. I mean, if the product that it's certified, it's the packaging can be done, but the scope or on the label or the claim shall be specified that the packaging is certified, but the product inside the packaging is not. So there are certain ways to claim the material, just to not misunderstood that all the products itself are certified. So it's a very specific claim to do, but it's possible.
Okay. Well, we have one more. I see one more question come in. What will be the process to qualify to be an auditor for the scope?
To be, sorry?
To be an auditor. The question is from Bongiwe. Thank you, Bongiwe, for your question. It's just to become an auditor. We currently aren't hiring any auditors, so if there were to be a position, it would be posted on the SCS website. And just a note that if you would like to be able to directly visit our website, you could use the QR code that's on the screen to visit the website.
Yes.
Okay. If there are no other questions, we can finish early. Feel free to email me or Aldo if you have any additional questions that come up after, and we'd be happy to talk to you about certifying your facilities.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your week. Oh, sorry, we got one more from Adam,
Okay.
just in the nick of time. We get our poly PP5 from Brazil and then manufacture printed labels. Would we then get the supplies, I think it means supplier, certified as well as ourselves? I think the answer to that is yes. The whole supply chain needs to be certified.
Yes.
So if
Yeah.
you want to make any kind of claim on those labels that you receive from Brazil, then that entity also needs to get certified, all the way down to wherever they get their material if they're not the concentrate. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest
Thank
of
you.
your week.
Thank you. Bye.